And regarding the budget crisis facing Sacramento, Assemblyman Bob Blumenfield, Democrat from Los Angeles, the San Fernando Valley, Woodland Hills, and chairman of the Assembly Budget Committee. Mr. Chairman, thanks for taking the time. Let's go over your proposal. It's different from the state Senate proposal, which was to raise taxes. You hope not to raise taxes except when it comes to the extraction of oil in California. That's 9% a year, and there's some complicated maneuvering with Wall Street, all designed to borrow money on future revenues off that oil tax to help balance the budget. Do I have that right?
Yes. I mean, the important thing to realize about our budget is it's not just your typical budget proposal. It really is a paradigm shift. Because what we've realized is that the traditional ways of balancing a budget, which means raising taxes, cutting spending dramatically, or traditional borrowing, have all been determined that they would spiral our economy further down than it is now. The legislative analysts came out with a report showing that where we are in our economy right now, all of those would be detrimental. So we did some creative work, and we found a way to actually, with raising a little bit of revenues, making some cuts, but doing it in such a way that we're actually going to grow our economy. We've set us on a course, a foundation to create jobs and build our economy and grow our way out of this problem.
Well, let's talk about your proposal, but so that there's no confusion on the part of the viewers. The state Senate side, their subcommittee has already passed a tax hike, extension of the previous tax hike, such as on income tax, as well as an increase in the vehicle license fee. You're not endorsing that, is that correct?
They have a proposal out there to do that. We have a proposal that has no broad-based tax increases, and it has the one oil severance fee, and it has a delay of some corporate tax breaks.
This relates to borrowing that you hope to achieve from the future revenue from this oil tax, correct?
Well, it's securitizing the beverage recycling fee, and it is a form of borrowing.
Beverage recycling fee, explain that.
When you have a can and you return it, you get 5 cents. There is a fee, about $1 billion a year fund that supports the programs, the recycling programs. So we are taking the money that comes from that and securing it over a long period of time to create a jobs fund, $8.9 billion jobs fund. But then with the oil severance fee, we're going to pay back that loan through the jobs fund. It's a little complicated. The important thing to realize about it is that it borrows it from a stream of revenue, so there is no additional bonded indebtedness to the state. That's a really important distinction. It's different than the way, like the governor's ERB bonds that he did earlier in the year. They added to our debt burden, and that's another problem that we've heard is if we do that, that also has detrimental effects. So we found a way to borrow based on a new revenue stream that will not increase our indebtedness one iota.
There's some suggestion that the governor's a lame duck, and that the labor unions, the state labor unions, could say, you know what, we don't want to deal on this because we might have somebody else that we're going to have to deal with down the road. He might be a little more sympathetic to our cause. And that therein lies that plus a couple of ballot measures. There's a 2/3 to majority ballot measure that's going to be, that there's a impetus not to address this issue, in a speedy fashion. That you could be bogged down in this debate for weeks, months.
Well, that's exactly why the pension issue, one of the reasons, should not be part of our budget discussion. I mean, the governor tries to insert it, but in the reality of trying to balance the budget, it is not the thing to focus on.
Do you believe there's a problem with pensions?
Absolutely. There's no question that we need to deal with the pension issue, and it needs to be dealt with first and foremost through the collective bargaining procedure. But again, it's a red herring when it comes to how do we deal with our budget. I mean, the Legislative Analyst Office has made it pretty clear what are the things we need to deal with. And in terms of the spending, and we need to make certain cuts, but they've also said if we this budget is on top of the $60 billion worth of solutions we've done in the last year and a half. That has an impact on our economy. We have to take a step back, and that's why I like our budget proposal. And not just look at, be bean counters. We have to look at how what we do is impacting the economy. The problem with the governor's solution, the solution exacerbates the problem. When you're in a hole, the first thing you need to do is stop digging. The governor's plan basically gets a bulldozer in there and digs an even deeper hole. What our plan does is says, look, the economy's starting to turn around a little bit. What can we do so that we don't undercut that turnaround, but we actually support it by creating jobs and building a job fund that's going to grow our economy.
I wish you the best of luck. Thank you very much, and we'll be back on this issue because this is the start of the negotiations over budgets, cuts, and tax hikes. We'll have final comments.